try and understand and dissect how should one really read into the political tensions on the border. Maroof, morning. Thank you for joining us. What do you think is the next coming from the Indian government? The Pakistani PM last evening has indicated his stance. Even though it was an influence stance, what do you think should be coming from the Indian government today or tomorrow?
You see, we have to be very careful not to play into Pakistan's plot. Their plot has always been create tension and then suddenly under the umbrella of nuclear weapons, which they feel is the ultimate equalizer for them vis-a-vis India, just insist that, we must talk. So Pakistan tries to win brownie points in the international community to appear as a responsible state wanting to talk, but they are completely not addressing the central issue which has bothered India and Indians for decades now, is Pakistan's sheltering, training and the support it gives to terror groups. India's PM should not be at this stage be willing to concede to any talks. You see, talks with Pakistan has to take place when you have a whole lot of mechanisms in place which allow us to then get Pakistan to actually give a commitment. In recent memory, that was the only time when Mrs. Gandhi had so many prisoners of war after 1971. But unfortunately, she was ill-advised by her bureaucratic and diplomatic team and therefore let go of the prisoners on Bhutto's false promises. There are two elements right now that we need to actually have in place, and I don't see them. One is a military spokesperson, also along with the Foreign Office spokesperson, who gives clarity to the public and to the business and to the international observers about the sequence of actions. You cannot leave it to diplomats who may be well-intentioned and may be talking to a script, but here you need to be able to react beyond the script. And the second thing is that there must be much more interaction by the Prime Minister with at least the leading opposition parties, and there has been a complaint to that effect, which is going to be played up by Pakistan to show that we are a divided house. Beyond that, matters military, best left to the military. They have the whole sequence of actions worked out. We have considerable edges over Pakistan, and we haven't actually played all the cards. All we've done is attacked terror targets, opened a new strategic window where we are willing to exercise this option should we be pushed again. We are not saying we wanted to escalate, and that is where matters should rest. Those who are intelligent enough should be able to understand our diplomatic community is very capable but very short-staffed. There is a need for engaging with the international community with much more support from informed individuals in Indian society. America does it all the time. Even other countries like Britain use a lot of intellectual wealth that is in the system without people becoming formal civil servants or diplomats. And I don't see any reason why India doesn't do it. And this is actually a culture within our bureaucracy that I know it all and I'll handle it all. In such times, every national resource has to be pooled in. We are in a state of alert. We are not in a state of war. And the state of alert will continue for some time.
Yeah, indeed it would. But Maroof, what happens to the IAF pilot Abhinandan? You think he will be held captive up until there is a truce called off between India and Pakistan? Because as of now, it seems that Imran Khan wants to sit across the table with the Prime Minister Modi and he wants to really talk truce. At least that is what the statements seem to be suggesting.
Well, Imran Khan is actually rattling out the lines that are being given to him by the generals. He is also, even as Prime Minister of the country, coming out and talking about pilots that are held by him. That's the job of the spokesperson, not the Prime Minister. And then he's quoting inaccurately because he first said we have two mixed down and two pilots with us. Then after the fake was established by Times Now and other channels, they've come back to one pilot. Now the pilot itself, see, when you wear the uniform, you are trained and you prepare for the eventuality of either unfortunately becoming a prisoner of war or at most dying. Those are options that you live with. And there is no need for people to panic and throw their arms up. They've got one pilot, so let's talk. Please remember that at the height of the Kargil conflict, when many men were dying on either side of the snowy, icy peaks, they still had a pilot of ours and they returned the pilot, because under Geneva Conventions, they have to offer him his dignity. They have to offer him a basic kind of, accommodation and hospitality. Pakistan will obviously be a bit nasty with him, but he is not the first prisoner of war. The good thing is that he has been admitted to by Pakistan, so Pakistan will have to return him. There are many prisoners of war, and the families in India, they continue to pine for them still. Pakistan has never admitted having taken them, and I think there are at least 35 families that still hope for some information whether their loved one lived or died. And in operational situations, men die. Men look at the possibility of either being taken prisoners, but better still die. And this is something that a soldier or an air warrior or a naval fighter lives with. And I don't think we need to get unduly worried and throw our hands up. I mean, if we are aspiring to achieve something as a country, with one pilot having been taken as a prisoner of war, I mean, are we going to give up our entire fight? Is that what 1.3 billion Indians are all about? We should hang our head in shame. And even those who are pontificating on social media about what needs to be done, they must understand that if you want peace, then understand war.
Right. Thanks very much then, Maroof, for taking time out and joining in with that perspective on all that's going on with respect to India and Pakistan and the latest developments.